Yeah! I am the god of yumps. Got him. Yes! 1,000 mid-airs in a row. Get wrecked. Jump on that guy. Get free shroom. Dude, we're about to one-shot this. He said as he died. He said as he died. What the?
You are the best. You are everything I've ever wanted. Are you?
Ow!
Sir?
Trap the dinosaur in another dimension.
What dimension? Ours?
No, don't worry about it.
Where? What did you do? What did you do? What did you do? What the? Ah!
Okay, hey, thank you for joining us. We're really happy to have you today.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Why don't we go ahead and get started and tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Now that you mention it, I'm not sure I remember. No, but my name is Zine, and I've been on the YouTube scene for quite a while now, and but now primarily spend my time doing Twitch streaming and that sort of thing. So, making content, playing games.
And what's that game that you like to play right now?
I do variety streams, so you know I'm all over the place. On YouTube, it's almost exclusively Minecraft. I work with you know, a couple partners that are much bigger deals than me that you know, I ride along their coattails. But on Twitch, I enjoy mixing it up and trying different things and do a lot more variety there. Interesting.
Before we jump into the different types of games that you're doing, how did you get started? What kind of brought you to this world?
It's actually, it's kind of, I mean, I don't know whether it's an interesting story for everybody, but I started watching someone named CaptainSparklez on YouTube, and pretty big Minecrafter, and enjoyed his content. He actually is who, when he moved to Twitch and started doing his stuff there, that's what introduced me to Twitch, and then I kind of grew out from there, and then long roundabout, one thing led to another, I ended up doing it myself, and now that's who I record with, which was kind of a cool come full circle thing, is he's my primary recording partner, so that's kind of neat that way, but yeah, he's who got me into it all.
So you started as a fan watching CaptainSparklez, and then you watched him progress from YouTube to Twitch when, I'm assuming it first came out, because he was one of the original streamers. How long has he been on Twitch for? About when was that transition?
I think 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I'd call him an original on Twitch, but he's, I mean, he's definitely, he was the second person to reach 1 million followers there, so he's been there quite a while. But yeah, he started using Twitches for his kind of like off video grinding and stuff, you know, kind of the extra content. And when I saw that platform, I connected to it a lot more immediately versus YouTube.
Yeah, so you just found that the Twitch style was more centric to your style overall?
Oh yeah, for me personally, I love my involvement with the community and the feedback, and a big part of it is having the chat there and being dynamic and live, and I feel like I can be myself. As soon as you put me on recording like solo for YouTube offline, then it's that, what do I do with my hands? Who am I? You know, like all the self-consciousness comes immediately back. Put me in front of a crowd for whatever reason on Twitch, and I'm just, you know, like, let's do this, no problem.
Interesting. So you're typically more comfortable in person. Is this translates to IRL, like if you were physically on a stage?
Well, yes and no. If you were to make me mingle with a group of people, if you were to put me in with like a business thing and like, hey, go mingle and talk to people and make small talk, I'm gonna find a corner and I'm gonna stand in it. But you want to put me on the stage and have me talk to that group and do a presentation or just whatever, no problem. I'm fine talking to a crowd. In fact, I really enjoy that. So it's, I couldn't tell you what the difference is in thought process, but yeah, I don't mind talking to a group at all. Just don't make me like try and ask them about their kids and the weather.
Yeah. So I take it, did you have a chance to go to Twitchcon last year?
I did. I've been to Twitchcon the last couple years, and it's been, you know, kind of an interesting growing experience, and you know, I like, again, the ability to go and connect and reach out. But TwitchCon's also really humbling because it's that, you know, you get into your community and everybody knows you, and you kind of feel like, you know, oh well, I'm starting to make it in the world. And then you go there and it's like you are nobody again. And so, you know, you can stand in the middle of a convention floor with just streams of people who are technically your target audience, just walking by you. They have no idea who you are, and you're like, well, guess I still got a ways to go.
I was just talking to GlitchCat7 the other day about this exactly, and he was talking about how you feel like you're a big deal, and you get to TwitchCon, and then there's just all of these names with these huge audiences, and you don't know who any of them are. And it's it's a similar way to you.
Very, very much so. And then the other funny thing about that is, you know, I mean, you're doing it to other people too, right? You're standing there in line for whatever, and the guy in front of you is like, oh yeah, you know, I got, you know, whatever number you want to pick that's a large number, you know, 500,000 followers or whatever, and, you know, turn a couple thousand a night, and you're like, hi, I've never heard of you, but that's cool. I'm glad you're being successful, you know? So it's really interesting, like, some of the people, one of the questions that I get on occasion is, you know, what's it like being famous or whatever? And it's like, it's not. I take out my garbage just like the next person, you know. When I walk through the store, no one's like, oh my gosh, look at that guy. You know, I'm not, we're not the Kardashians here. We're just, we have a small audience, and I love them, and I'm thankful for them, but it's definitely a whole different level than where people kind of picture it as actually being.
Well, I can imagine that the actual celebrity of it seems random when going to a giant room filled with 40,000 people, each looking for their own celebrity. But, I mean, if we get all of your followers together in one room, it would be hard for you to walk through without getting mobbed in its own right? I mean, over the last couple of years, your channel's already pulled in 40,000 followers on Twitch, and on YouTube, you're crossing, I've already crossed 5 million views. This is a lot of stuff to be recognized by. Do people in the street ever kind of notice you?
I've never been noticed just randomly in the street, not once. And I mean, again, I've had a couple of people, and again, kind of going back the TwitchCon experience. At the same time, no one recognizes you, and then all of a sudden, someone out of nowhere will be like, "Hey, can I get a picture?" And you're like, "Hi, who are you? You know, talk to me. Let me know who you are, and let's say hi." But absolutely, you know, it's kind of a different experience. But I have not been stopped on the street or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I'm in a similar bow. We actually put up booths at most places. People know to come look for us, and I may get one person who's like, "Picture time?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's cool, let's do it,
yeah, let's do this." Right.
It still feels good.
You know, I mean, none of that's complaining by any means. It's just kind of what people, I think, what fans, when they watch, with the expectation of the glamour of it is greatly inflated. You know, for me, it's about the connection and being able to meet people and make friends. That's the appeal and interesting like that. There's nothing, if you're looking for fame and infamy, there's better ways to go about it than this route. It's way too much work to try and get to that level.
Well, what kind of,
that's your goal?
You mentioned at the beginning that you kind of started in the streaming path with watching CaptainSparklez' journey from YouTube to Twitch, and that you yourself take to Twitch. But your YouTube's been around since 2016, and when was your Twitch started?
I think about going on 4 years. So, however, with math,
2005,
2015. Yeah. It's I'm going on 4 years in June. So, you know, it's been around for a couple years as well. And I think, I mean, I started Twitch kind of before I really started recording heavily for YouTube. YouTube, when I had a couple opportunities and some big series with partners that really helped launch me and kind of move me forward a bit. But I was already semi-established, or at least starting out, and to you know, at a smaller stream level, but still there on Twitch by the time that happened. So Twitch kind of preceded for me personally the YouTube experience.
And how do you remember that process going down? A lot of people have some commonalities between what we're finding out it takes to grow a stream in the beginning, and I'd be interested to know your opinion and how you kind of led yourself up to that ability to partner on YouTube, like you just said.
Right.
Were there any key moments that you remember that kind of helped lead you to that growth, or was it kind of linear the whole way?
Well, it's been it's a hard question to answer because it's been both linear and I've had key elements. For me, it's about, you know, you have to take the opportunities when you find them, and they do present themselves every now and then. But at the same time, in between those opportunities, you have to be putting in the work. And so I've done the grind from you know, 5 viewers, 10 viewers to up to 20, and that, you know, and that was a half a year process kind of thing, getting to that point. And so I've done those like low level grinds, but at the same time, when I started and how I got, when I first came out of it, I had started doing back-end work for one of the series that, again, CaptainSparklez, through the fandom, I was able to get an opportunity to help out in the back end, not on camera, but it got my name known a little bit, and that started me at those 5 people instead of 0. And then went along, and then there was a series called Trollcraft came out, and that really pushed me forward as well. And you know, so it's basically a combination of both. You have to take the opportunities as they come up and really capitalize on them. But I wouldn't say by any means that I was handed, you know, where I'm at. I've been here day after day doing this, and I work a full-time job in the you know, regular hours, and then I do it all in the after hours. So it's been a lot of work, and so I think there's combinations of both to answer the question.
Absolutely, there's no way you could get to this size consistency. I mean, your average concurrent viewership is relatively high. The people that you follow didn't just follow you one day because they saw your face on another stream. They're continuing to follow you. Right. I mean, you have an average viewership of over 500. That's rather impressive now. So you clearly have put in that consistency in that early period of time when you were grinding up, like you said. What kind of was the learning experience for you? You're a very personable person already to communicate with. Was that learned, or did you have to kind of learn how to ease into the style a little bit more?
I mean, there's certainly been a significant amount of growth and learning in the comfort level and knowing how to present myself. But one of the, it's a combination of both. I've always had the ability to tell a story. I mean, just in you know, and I kind of, I don't know that clicked in my head, like, I should do this because I can tell a story, but looking back in my life, I could be, if I had a group of friends and I had some experience to relate, I could get them rolling on the ground laughing as I related a perfectly normal experience, but just hyped up in the right places, right? And so I've kind of leveraged that initial talent or what have you, but if it's possible, and I certainly don't recommend it, but on my YouTube with some of my original streaming, when I did my very first Alien Isolation run through, which is kind of the game that got me started there in Twitch. And you can, you know, I'm quiet, I'm reserved, I'm pulled in, I'm tight, and you know, I'm kind of mumbling into the mic. I don't want to disturb anyone, and you know, you learn to have a comfort level and to know how to work to the camera and that sort of thing as you go along. And that's just getting in your reps day in and day out. Sorry, apparently my dog has decided to bark, so. You're
fine. Twitch loves dogs.
Yeah, they do. They have their own emotes, and they're part of the stream. So,
gotta love them. So I also wanted to point out that you did something unique. We've had a chance to talk now. This is the 28th interview we've been lucky enough to do on this series, and it seems that everyone does find a way to get that initial community connection. And you seem to be the first person who's taken the path of a community enthusiast and gotten a job there, and actually have contributed to the back end. And then you literally said your name came up in the credits, basically. Right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, there was a popular series called Mianite, and for the second season, they wanted to expand it, and they needed, you know, they called it NPCs, which to me is funny because it's non-player character, but really, you know, the uncredited actors, so to speak. And they kind of did on their Reddit fandom subreddit, they posted asking for volunteers and for help, and I submitted, and actually submitted multiple times until I ended up getting accepted. And so yeah, I worked behind the scenes, and that was just that was supposed to be pretty much uncredited and almost unaware, but through, you know, people wanted to know, had questions, and so I'd kind of start interacting and at least answering, so that kind of I got known as this is the guy who does these other secondary roles. And so yeah, I kind of leveraged that and said, hey, you know, if you're all here, then maybe we go do a stream on something else here real quick, and kind of that was the start.
Did you have that premeditated? Was this kind of your interest in the beginning to?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, it was, you know, when I first saw Twitch and when I had seen YouTube, like there was that thought of, it'd be cool to do this, but I didn't set out with the plan of this is where I'm going to end up, or I'm going to start focusing on that or anything like that. It was just at every step that I took and everywhere I got more involved, I enjoyed it more and I was drawn more to it, and so it just kind of pulled me in more and more as I got further in. So yeah, there was no escaping once I got that first taste, I guess.
Well, you've clearly been blessed in the fortune of your own ambition and the way that just kind of organically progressed from there, it seems. It couldn't have been just like a linear path. You said you worked really hard, grinded out for a while to get up to that foundation where you then were allowed those kind of opportunities. You mentioned a couple series that really kind of helped kick it off. What can you tell me a bit about your involvement in finding those series and getting in with those mod pack creators at the right time to be able to kind of create them?
Right. Really, I mean, like I said, through the initial one was mianite, and that was being a fan on the subreddit, and then an ability to write, so that when I put my application in, it caught attention, and being able to actually kind of join the writing team. But one thing about mianite is, with all, you know, I don't want this to like sound rude for anybody else, but it's pretty well known. It had a management problem, a communication problem, that was a disconnect between what the workers were trying to do and what the streamers, the headliners, were aware of and doing. And I come from a management background in my day job, so I kind of just started doing that, started trying to coordinate and bringing that together. And whether, you know, asked to or not is a debatable topic, but, you know, I saw a void, I started to fill it, and that got me to my first introduction with CaptainSparklez, and him to at least, you know, roughly know my name, so to speak. And so when he finished that series and was starting another one, him and one of the other mianite alum were looking for someone to help out, and they were like, you know, let's talk to Zine. And so I helped him out there, and then that went its course. And when he started this Trollcraft series and they were doing development, he knew a guy, so he gave me a call and was like, do you want to help out here? And the only funny part there is the initial call for that was, will you help make a mod pack for this? And I was like, you're absolutely right, I sure will. I'll Google how to do that once we're off this call, but you are very correct in that I would be happy to help, and, you know, can give you all the experience you need. So kind of fake it till you make it a little bit in there, but yeah, it was, you know, I don't feel like I was handed my, you know what I've got, and I don't feel like it was just delivered to me, but I've had opportunities that I've capitalized on, and, you know, CaptainSparklez is kind of a part of that along the way.
What gave you the confidence to be able to make that call? You know, yeah, sure. I mean, making a Minecraft mod pack, you have to know some Java, JavaScript maybe. It's not always easy.
Well, I mean, I'm a developer, or at least I used to be. Now I'm a manager, so I just take credit for other people's work. But I came from that background, and so there's really nothing to me that's scary on the technical side. Like, and the reality is I ended up not doing much on the technical side. I did a lot of other things to help out, and became kind of what I like to think of, and that might be self-gratulation, but you know, became kind of a key point of the series. But it didn't really become that much of an issue for the technical side, because it was like, if there's a problem, if there's something, then I can just, you know, I know how to use Google, I know how to do technical programming work to figure that out. So I wasn't scared of it. It's just, it's a language I didn't know, but I know how to learn it, kind of thing.
Well, can I take a break then and ask about your day job? You're a full trained coder, I take it? Or, well, coder now manager?
Yeah, basically, I started out, I mean, and again, this is kind of the same path, different career line. I started out answering phones and tech support when I was a young lad, and worked my way up to tech support manager, and then from there to a junior sysadmin, until went into application development, started learning programming, and then, you know, worked my way up to where now I manage the web development team for my company. So,
nice.
You know, I start at the bottom and work my way up, and do what I can along the way. So yeah, I have a lot of experience in the entire kind of online technical world. One of the first place that I started there was a local ISP, so I had the entire networking stack from, you know, how you dialing in with the modem all the way up to DNS and the servers and all those pieces together. So none of that was really scary to me.
No, it sounds like you have an unusually technical background, and it makes sense then why you still have a day job if it probably pays pretty well in such a technical field.
You know,
do you do well? Yeah, I mean, you're
I do
competing.
What I do.
Yeah,
it
you
pays
do.
for the house.
There you go. But it kind of comes down to the ground that you have a really decent channel, and you probably make a decent amount from it. You don't have to tell me any details or anything. I don't want to know specifics, but you have a full-time job also. Not many people are capable of balancing both and having a successful path on each. What can you kind of tell me about the work-life balance you've managed to create with both your day job, your stream, and how do your finances in general percentages? How are you seeing things kind of come through your streams, so to speak? How are you?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I get where you're going from. You know, in terms of work-life balance, you have to give up on that and just make it all work. There is no life. But I mean, you know, and trust me, my girlfriend will confirm that. But you know, I get very little sleep, and you know, I know that I should get more and do more things for that, but for whatever reason, I haven't found that I have had stamina problems like burnout and that sort of thing. Like I can make it work, and have been able to make it work thus far. If I need a vacation, then I'll take one. But generally, it's you know the typical day is wake up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, go to work by 9, get off work from 5:30 to 6, come home, grab dinner, and then I'm recording if I have a secondary videos, and I'll be recording from 7 to 8, and then from 8 I'm streaming until 11. 11 to 12 is kind of rendering my videos, doing that sort of thing. 12 to 2 is typically you know, time for me, or unwinding and time with the girlfriend, and then sleep and repeat. So there's not a lot of open space there, and that just I've gotten in the pattern, and I've been able to kind of do it. In terms of, you know, finances, that sort of thing, I've been keeping an eye on the channels. I like the idea of being able to go full time, but having the daytime career has been both a blessing and a curse there, in that I'm not the starving college student trying to do it who's worried about whether I can eat next week or not. You know, I've got the career that keeps me going, and it also has helped me out by being able to allow me to buy better gear and that sort of thing to kind of improve hardware-wise what I'm trying to do. But at the same time, I know I have several friends who have gone full-time that their channels are still somewhat smaller than mine, but they're able to do that because they're not trying to replace a full career level income as well. I'm looking at this going, okay, I've got you know, a 401k match and benefits and all those things going on at work. If I'm going to go and do full-time on Twitch or YouTube or both, I've got to be able to account and cover for those. So I would say, you know, in terms of percentages and stuff like that, if you make the day job at 100%, the channels kind of become around, we'll see what taxes and everything where it kind of ends up, but I think we're about 40-50% there.
Hey, that's a nice supplemental income with that hustle.
Yeah, no, I just look at it as a fairly decent raise. So and again, it's, without going into specifics and everything, it's been it's allowed me, I've had a life kind of goal for a while. I've always liked nice cars, and I've leased a car for like a decade.
Me too.
And you know, people get mad at me, you know, you're not supposed to lease, and I understand the financial implications. It was an informed decision. But I'd always told myself that if I could ever afford a Tesla Model S, then that would be the car that I would buy. And December 21st of last year was when I picked up the car that I bought. So, you know, that's thanks to the help of, you know, of everybody who's generous with the streams and everything like that, and then, you know, the extra work that I'm putting in through my multiple jobs and sacrifice of sanity.
Yeah, man, if you're gonna give up a piece of your soul like that, you deserve a Tesla.
It's you know, they'll get me, stream will get me babbling about it, and I'll just be like, you don't understand, I don't have to press the garage door opener, it just does it when I get close to it, you know. So yeah, it's been a pretty fun experience, and certainly I think the shine of that's going to wear off real quick, because I think tomorrow is when the first payment is due. So it's going to be a lot less fancy or exciting tomorrow than it has been the last month and a half. But yeah, it's been kind of really cool to see everything come together and be able to chase something that was genuinely kind of a life goal of mine.
Well, congratulations on achieving it. I have a similar goal myself of getting a Tesla one day. I think every internet entrepreneur dreamer kind of has that goal inside of them.
Right.
I've yet to be able to pull the trigger on it though. I just don't drive that much yet. I don't think I could get the value out of it. You go to work and stuff. I can see Sean. That's you're living the life, man. I love it. Let's jump back to the stream for a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit more about your audience and kind of the games that you choose. A lot of people find themselves kind of struggling between the choice of what they want to play and what their stream wants them to play, or what their audience kind of dictates they want to play. And in a game as granular as Minecraft, where you have so many mod pack variations and options, how do you find yourself picking what you choose and why?
There's a certain amount of catering to the audience that goes into it, obviously. You know, you need to be aware of that. But I don't play things that I don't want to play, generally speaking. I mean, again, you know, Minecraft, I've played that a lot. So there's times when the game itself isn't that interesting, but the mods make it more fun. But for me, it's the stream and the you know, whether it's recording with CaptainSparklez or the interaction there, that's where I get the fun from it. And so that opens it up a little bit, is I'm not depending on the game to entertain me. I'm entertained by the whole process of what we're doing and the interaction with friends and with the audience. So that's kind of my big give there. But there's certainly things that's like, this is kind of fun, go and look at stats, and it's like, obviously other people weren't connecting to it. We can try something else the next day. You know, there'll be other fun games and that sort of thing.
So you do find yourself still reading stats and kind of triggering off whether or not this game pack or play style happens to be successful or not?
Very generally. I don't watch the numbers really close. I mean, anybody who says, "Oh, I never look at the numbers," is a a bald-faced liar. Of course, you're going to look at it and kind of gauge where you're at and what things are happening. But I don't watch my viewer count up and down as I'm doing things in the moment. You know, I just do a broadcast, and then I kind of look back on it and say, how did things happen? Were there any moments that I can clearly delineate this something happened here and people left or not? And typically not. Like I tend to stay pretty steady through streams, and then as the night goes on and gets late, I see that roll off. But I really haven't encountered a whole lot of I said this and people left sort of situation. So for me, it's kind of a retrospective. Is this game just generally, I've tried it 2 or 3 times and just people aren't showing up for it, then I'll make a change, and that is a statistics driven decision. But in the moment and what I'm doing and what I'm deciding for typically is just, what do I feel like, what sounds good, that sort of thing.
Interesting. And in that moment, you have, or rather, from doing that over the time and the people that you play with, Minecraft has clearly become a big part of your ecosystem, especially on YouTube. Right. It sounds like a lot of that is kind of determined by the friends that you have and the community that you've created, and the interaction that you have with them just happens to revolve around that part of it. And what part of Minecraft do you think stands out to you after experiencing all of this so much from a content creator's point of view? Is there some aspect of it that stands out as being your favorite?
As far as to Minecraft specifically, I mean, the ability to mod it and the way that's kind of set up, it lets you change the game around a lot and do different things. Whether it's, we've done one series where it's extremely intensive machines and piping and logistics and not quite Factorio sort of level, but that you're working on supply lines and all that. And then there's ones where it's magical and just exploration. You're flying around and it's casting spells or what have you. It allows you to kind of broaden that out, and I think that's where most of the appeal comes from. Or at least that's where the appeal to the content creators comes from. In terms of the audience and what they like for it, I think that's more just, it's a very relatable, easily to understand game. You get what's going on pretty quick, and so again, whether you're at a younger age or up, it depends. Kind of the younger you are, the more you're into the game, and the older you are, the more you're into the broadcaster and the content that they're creating and personality they're bringing.
Interesting. I haven't heard that age delineation from as far as interest is concerned before.
I'm not saying I've done polls and stuff like that, but that's kind of my take on it. Is I see someone watching as a young teenager or even preteen, watching and enjoying it because of the game and what it's doing. But if someone's in their mid-20s, they're probably not watching the block placement as much as listening to the entire show. That's kind of my assumption in that range. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I think that's how it's working out.
I'm sure you have a pretty good feel for it. It sounds about right. I don't know if you were told or if you know, but we also own Apex Minecraft Hosting, an old Minecraft hosting company that partnered with TechnicPack a long time ago. That's why we're probably so interested in Minecraft here. You've got a lot of experience in the field specifically. How did you, one of the things that confuses us, or at least even me still, is learning all of these different things. How much of this is firsthand experience, just jumping into the mod pack, kind of figuring out as you go, and how much of it is following other famous YouTubers or tutorial guides like Direwolf or something like that?
Almost all of it's, self-taught to an extent. Is self-taught reading wikis and figuring it out there and then doing it but with your own hands. Then, if that's the case, then yeah, it's self-taught. Obviously, I don't just sit there in game banging my head against it until I kind of figure out what's going on. Most of them, and I dislike it. I dislike the habit, but most of them require kind of wiki access and external out of game investigation in order to fully get and appreciate what all is there. But for the most part, it's I look up what it can do, what the options are, and then I go into game and I just build it myself. There's I have watched YouTube tutorials of how to answer specific questions or how to set up a specific thing, but it's not. I don't just watch like Direwolf or Dragosto or any of those that explain the entire mechanics and go through the entire showcase of it. I usually don't do that as much as I just let's start putting pieces together and see how it all comes, how it all clicks.
I guess that would be kind of natural since a lot of people are watching your show in order to learn in the first place.
Right.
So
there's a certain level of and that's kind of a fine balance and something that I don't think many people understand or kind of think about with the streaming is I want to go into it being able to having enough base to be able to figure out and end up where we want to go, but with enough non-knowledge and experimentation that it's entertaining for people to watch me mess up, to watch me, to feel people like to feel superior because they know how to do something that you don't. I mean, and that's all just human nature. That's fine. But so if I go in and I just bang rocks together for an hour and don't get anywhere, then people are going to be frustrated and leave and wow, that was a waste of an episode, that sort of thing. But if I go in and I'm like, hey guys, I watched a tutorial and memorized how to do this, click, 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 see, that's how you do it, then we're over in 5 minutes and no one really got to enjoy the process. So I have to try and study to a point of I have a general understanding, but without necessarily saying I am an expert in this and will know exactly how to put it together immediately without any real struggle or strife along the way too.
That makes sense. There's so much of this is so delicate and how much you can provide and bring and at what points do you insert yourself. It sounds like you've done a lot of just raw effort and practice in this. And you said earlier that the actual process of streaming and videoing and that hustle doesn't burn you out anymore. But when you have to focus on a singular game as much as as your channel seems to be focused on, even though you can switch up with mod packs, there still sometimes can get a little bit of a burnout as far as that kind of research and execution is concerned. Do you ever find yourself with that in Minecraft? And if so, how do you overcome it?
Well, again, you get the variety of the mod packs, but for me, if you look at the YouTube channel specifically, then it's going to look like that's all I do. But the reality is Minecraft is a secondary thing to me in the course of the broad Twitch channel. So again, I consider myself a Twitch streamer primarily, and so I use those other days or those non-Minecraft days to mix it up to do other things. And if unless I have a specific recording session, then there are times when it's like I don't feel like playing that and I'll do something else. At the same time, it is still with the mod packs and with those variations, there are times when I get into the world we're building or whatever, and so even though I'm not doing a recording, I'll be like, hey guys, let's go on to the UMR world and work on this puzzle that I've been working on and play more Minecraft. So the burnout, it kind of is there to an extent, but you change worlds, you restart, you redo things, and you set different goals, and then that keeps it kind of fresh. Plus, I have the different games on the Twitch channel to vary it up that way as well.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the Twitch channel, because that's a great relief for you. It seems you can really go different ways on it, and you have the opportunity to switch it up a lot more. We've realized that a lot of the success of streams seems to be setting up expectations with your audience. They just know what to expect from you in those locations. Have you ever found yourself changing those expectations of people? Having people want to pull you down a path that you're like, no, this is my FPS day. We're going to make this happen.
I mean, certainly people like, pretty much every stream that I do, there's a certain portion of the audience that's, are you going to be playing your Minecraft series today? That's always there. But I fire up typically with a intention of here's where we're going to go, or maybe here's one or two choices, what do you guys think? But in my opinion, it's kind of the streamer's responsibility to lead into know what path they're going down, and so it doesn't really pull from me. They're not able to really pull me in different directions that they hadn't already planned on going. Part of that again is it's just always kind of there, and so you get used to it. But then I kind of have a natural leader aspect, and so I just kind of, this is where we're going, guys. Who wants to come? Follow me, sort of thing. So I don't find that that's really that big of a conflict, although it certainly those requests are there, and it's just, sorry, we're not doing that tonight. Maybe, watch tomorrow, and we'll see if we can get to it.
Well, let's kind of get into that stage where we talk a little bit more about the finesse of your channel and kind of what those maybe some of those pitfalls have been or experiences that you've learned along the way of growing. Let's start with the process to get as large of a community as you've found so far. It's pretty interesting. What can you tell me has been the greatest learning lesson from that growth that you've experienced?
In terms of lessons, difficult, but certainly what the skill set that I never expected to have to use as much as I have is, I mentioned it before, but the manager experience. Managing is a huge part of the community building and understanding how to work with people, how to control, because as soon as you start getting groups of people, you're going to have people that create drama, you're going to have, you know, conflicts and that sort of thing. Knowing how to manage that and contain it and resolve it has been tremendously helpful. And fortunately, or perhaps arrogant, I don't know if it's hubris or not, but I really haven't had a point where I feel like I look back and I'm like, wow, I nearly, you know, ruined everything by making this decision. At this point, I've been able to kind of guide things, and certainly, you know, had corrections along the way, but nothing that I would point at and say this was a big lesson, and I really learned not to do that again. I think the closest thing there was when the biggest lesson of all of it, and it's not really community based, so it's a little off topic, but the biggest thing I found was when I had gotten a decent YouTube viewership through the Trollcraft series, and then I kind of assumed that they were going to stick around, and I went for a couple months without making videos. I had gotten busy with other things, and then produced another video and was like, where did everyone go? You know, there's you know 10 views, and I'm like, we were doing so well. What happened? And so I learned consistency there. So you know, again, I realize that's kind of varying off of the community portion, but in terms of lessons learned, that was my biggest one that I would point at and say that's where I goofed.
Yeah, that kind of leads into the next question, which you covered there as well. What was the kind of the most common like maybe a common error that people make that they wouldn't think that they would be making? And it sounds like in that scenario, the time off happened to be a very large impact.
Certainly, and I mean in YouTube in particular, but consistency is important. You know, one of the more common questions that we get as, you know, a medium-sized channel or larger is, how do I get started? Where do I go? And you know, I think that's, if you look at the Twitch subreddit, again, you know, that's the most common thing is people just looking to figure out how to get started. And the things that kind of really stand out to me is, I think that from the streaming side, not on the YouTube side, but from the streaming side, people think that it's the game that's important, and they want to stream themselves playing a game, and it's this game. And it's like, my opinion is, if you were to go and watch your friend playing another game, are you entertained? You know, are you having fun? Or do you, because it's kind of like, can I try? Can I have a turn? You know, like you want to step in. It's the shows aren't, the successful shows aren't some guy on a couch playing a game. It's someone producing a show and adding entertainment value, and the game is the backdrop. It's the something that you kind of build off of, but it's not the focus. It's not the reason. Unless you're playing it like, you know, pro level esports. Obviously, that's a different thing. They're doing things that no one else can do, and you're watching them because that's amazing what they did. I'm a terrible gamer. I just get, you know, I go into Fortnite and I just get shot a lot. So I can't depend on skill to be my selling point. So you have to be entertaining, and you have to you have to really kind of understand how to put on a show. And I would say that's one of the biggest lessons that I think is a splash of cold water in everybody's in new streamers' face, I guess. That and the audio engineering. The audio engineering was not expected and is a difficult thing.
Yeah, well, this is kind of set up to kind of help people with whatever it is that you find yourself as being the hurdle that you overcome. My next question would have been, what kind of hurdle? And that goes to technical as well. I myself had a lot of difficulty not sounding like shit out of this mic. How did you kind of get your studio set up and kind of get the progress and get to the fine-tuned state that you're in?
Sure, and you know, it's always ongoing. I have equipment that I haven't gotten around to installing, and I have equipment that I still want to buy and stuff. So it's been a process, and really, you just set your baseline and you start out there, and then you kind of look at what your weakest link is, and you say, how do I fix that? And you study and you learn and you grow, and you go, oh, I understand more of how to work around this, and you solve that problem, and then that immediately reveals another problem. But your general production quality kind of raises a step at each turn. So, but you know, to kind of go back to the previous reference, the audio, when I went to dual PC and I moved my mic to an XLR analog mic instead of it being, you know, just a USB headset type thing. That required me to understand a lot more about all of that equipment, and I'm certainly not good at it by any, you know, someone putting on a concert is going to be able to run rings around me, but I had to figure out how you know, how a sound chain works and where each step plugs in and what pieces go where. And you know, even to this day, I still get teased by CaptainSparklez because he talks about how complicated my setup is, but I have a flexibility and a production value that I'm really proud of. So you know, it is complicated, but I've also really liked where I've gotten.
Interesting. So instead of actually doing this kind of, once again, you've gone this self-taught path where you started with what you could get your hands on, and then you just piecewise stacked it up. And even though it may not be conventional yet, you're still just getting high quality results out of it. Do you see any?
I wouldn't say that I'm not conventional. I would say, like, you know, he got to a point where he was you know, this is good enough and this is what people are looking for, and I don't need to complicate it anymore. I wanted to go past that, and so I stepped into, primarily he's in a single PC solution, I'm in a dual PC, and as soon as you get the dual PC, you've got more than 2 times the problems kind of thing. So again, I wouldn't say that I'm non-conventional. I think that it's a pretty standard setup for that, but that's where the complexity jump that he's mocking me for it comes from.
Well, yeah, that shocked me. I'm using 2 PCs as well. So I use a Mac in order to do a lot of my audio engineering, and then the Windows PC in order to do a lot of my gaming and other communication type things. What can you tell me a little bit about your setup and how you got to this cost-effective or
not cost effective?
Let me rephrase that.
You know, again, I'm fortunate enough to have a day job, so I recognize, you know, I've got my basic setup is 2 PCs. I've got 2 monitors on each, so I've got an array of 4 monitors, kind of in a U shape right now. I've upgraded from a webcam coming in the ubiquitous Logitech, which you know, I'd gone from the C920 that everybody has to a Brio, which isn't really worth the price, but was a little bit better, and now I'm actually in a Panasonic Lumix GX85 mirrorless, so not DSLR, but I'm using a big boy camera, and that was a tremendous jump in picture quality, at least, you know, for my face, which is probably to the detriment of the stream, but not the point. So, and then on my audio, I've upgraded my mic a couple times. I went from the initial USB Blue Yeti to, that was kind of where I started out, to then I wanted to go XLR, so I added in a mixer. I got an AT2035. Have since replaced that with a Shure SM7B, which is kind of, I don't really see many places to go past that. You know, I mean, it's the microphone that Michael Jackson recorded Thriller on. I don't think that you know, for me screaming about how a wall is coming at me in a game, that I need a better pickup than that. But you know, right now it's like I'm interested in getting better vocal processing so I can do effects, setting up soundboard pieces, that sort of thing. So there's still more places to go from here. Interesting.
You remind me a lot of Drew, one of our social media guy. He's also always kind of adding on different pieces and pushing it, and helped me set up my setup as well. He's actually, his next piece is the Shure you just mentioned. Is that the same one Joe Rogan uses as well?
I think so. It's pretty. And it's interesting because it kind of, like, it's always been around in the music industry really heavily and really popular, but it kind of just broke out in streaming. And I was, I believe I got it from Gassy Mexican who upgraded to it, and I was like, I want to be that big someday. So I picked it up and felt like I was just, you know, standing tall and I'm playing with it. And then the next thing I know, everybody had it and I wasn't special anymore. So, you know, that was kind of there. But the other things that I've been adding on was I just barely got the HTC Vive Pro, and I've been trying to introduce VR stuff and kind of figure out how that works with streaming and that sort of thing. So yeah, always adding more things, and if I really want to troll my audience, then I just show them pictures of my cable management, because I don't do cable management.
Oh no.
I've never had the patience for it. There's other things in life for me to do than spend time trying to figure out how to make cables look pretty. So
Velcro straps, man. You can do it. Velcro straps, man. You can do it.
Yeah, I have them. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have cable guides all around.
Is that how you troll them?
I'll get to setting it up eventually. I probably won't. But yeah, it's, you know, I have fun teasing the audience, and especially the ones that you know, they joke that it's OCD. OCD is an actual medical thing, and one of the things that is important to me, and weird segue, but mental health is a big part of my stream, so I don't want to diminish people actually dealing with that, but they joke about they like things to be pretty and nice and all in a row and sort of thing, and I'm aware of that, so I will, you know, when I'm in Minecraft and I'm laying things out, I'll intentionally make the room one side too long, or offset one light so that it's, you know, you got nice rows, and then just the one to, and then, you know, isn't that nice, chat? And just kind of bask in them calling me names as they're just, you know, getting upset at me. But it's all in good fun.
You definitely come from Reddit. So over the last couple of years in streaming on Twitch and YouTube, you've accomplished a lot. What do you think your most memorable moment has been so far?
It's you know, that gets kind of heavy, but there's been I have a lot of roots in mental health, and have you know, I have clinical depression and have kind of overcome or worked with that as you know, I've grown up and had that since I was a teenager, and so I hark back to that a lot. And so the big things, the accomplishments and big moments for me are when I've been able to connect with whether it's specific you know, viewers or kids in my stream, and kind of help them through difficult times, or you know, just even more of a generalized help everyone have a home and kind of know, you know, that there's people that understand what they're dealing with and that know what there's going on. But I've had points where you know, I've called in wellness checks through the police to look in on viewers, and have had viewers who have made attempts that we've been able to stop and help them, and you know, they're doing well now and improving. And so that by far is the most meaningful to me, and what really matters in all of this.
You're actually saving lives.
I mean, I don't want to go, you know, again, I don't want to be grandiose, but I'm helping people find a home and realize that there is hope and there is some place to go. Because again, I've literally been in those depressive cycles to where you feel like there's nothing left for you, that feel like the world is just ash around you, and darkness and storm. And so being able to talk through that and help them understand, look, that's where I was, and I'm in this really cool place now. Like, this is what you can go from there to someplace that's, you know, what you're looking for and chasing those dreams and that sort of thing. And there is hope, and there is a place. So that's what's really mattered to me, and been, you know, all of the games and fun and laughs aside, that's what I see as the most important part about all this.
Are there any communities or websites that you like to send people to, or popular tools to be able to help?
I met up with the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention at Twitchcon, and have had it on my list that I need to do a charity stream for them and kind of help support them. We've talked about that a little bit, but unfortunately I haven't had a chance to plan and actually pursue that really further. But you know, I mean, the closest I would say is, I've talked about how I want my channel to be a safe zone for anybody to feel, to be who they want to be, and we were able to, you know, one of our emotes is a Pride Ally flag and that sort of thing, so that I don't care what, you know, gender, sexuality, race, whatever, you know, I don't care about any of that. You're a person, and either you're a good person or you're a bad person, but you're judged based on who you are, not about any of the labels that go with it. And I think that that's been helpful, and so again, in terms of communities that we refer to, I don't really have a go here for help sort of answer, but certainly the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention is near and dear to me. I lost my brother to suicide many years ago, over like 25 years ago, so a good long while, but you know, that was something that I did live through and see how it impacted a family, and you know, kind of tear things apart and how to survive through that. So that's the big one for me.
I can't imagine why. I'm sorry to hear that.
No, again, 25 years ago, I think I've worked through it. You know, it's I'm not still carrying it with me every day, but it certainly is a critical topic, and there's, you know, again, I don't want to I don't want to wander off into weird areas, but it's like there's times when people or recording partners will make jokes about, oh my god, I can't believe that, I want to kill myself, and you'll never hear me like making those jokes. Like that's kind of that's something that I don't really mess around with and take pretty seriously. So yeah, not to, again, I don't like getting heavy, but that's where there's a little bit more of a social aspect or social responsibility aspect to the stream, and where I try and give back a little bit.
Well, from a community renowned for its trolls on Reddit to Twitch renowned for its sometimes insensitivity, to see people like you pushing such awareness is really inspiring. And I really appreciate seeing it firsthand. You did make it to TwitchCon recently, and some people I'm sure had the chance to meet and greet. Are there any other events coming up that you may be at that your fans can come see you?
I think TwitchCon's really where I'm focusing on right now. With the day job and what I'm doing, it's hard for me to schedule the flexibility to be able to go and kind of dead around and hit every, I don't know how many PAXs there are anymore, but there's always a PAX going on somewhere. Yeah. So I kind of just I am a Twitch streamer first, and YouTube is kind of a secondary, but Twitch is where my heart lies, and so TwitchCon's kind of, I will be there. I'll figure out how to make that work. You want to meet me, that's where you're going to go. Great.
Well, we missed you last time, I think. At least I didn't get a chance to meet you last time.
Yeah, no, I stopped by the booth. I didn't recognize it, and I don't think the people who were there recognized me either. So it all worked out. We're just like, hi, use your chair, and they're like, that's great. We're happy you're using it. And I was like, it's nice. It feels comfortable. And then awkwardly left because I'm not good at mingling or asking people about the weather or their kids. But yeah, we did stop by, and I was there with Lobro Watch, who's a good friend of the stream as well. So I know you guys have done a couple things with him. So.
Yeah, we love Lobro Watch a lot. I got to meet up with him at PAX South. And then I know we definitely didn't get to see each other because I heard Lobro was coming to the booth and I missed him that day. We didn't get to meet up until PAX South, so if you were with him, that was the moment. Yeah, we sometimes got to walk around and try to shake hands and sit in the competitors' chairs.
People, I understand.
Yeah, I basically just want to go snoop around my competitors' products. That's what I was doing. And of course, meeting as many people as I could. Sure. But we'll hopefully get a chance to see you at the next TwitchCon. I'd love to chat more about it and see how we can kind of help you along the way.
Yeah, stop in and shake some hands.
Yeah, right. But to kind of end this out, you've done a fantastic job. I'm sure there's a lot that we could talk about more here today, but for the sake of time, we got to kind of wrap it up here a little bit, and I'd like to kind of finish off with a little bit of a softball question for you. In this field, and especially maybe because you're a developer even further at Trade, we always use a lot of peripherals in our day-to-day life. Whether it's the keyboard that has that perfect clicking, or the mouse that has that perfect feel, or maybe the headset that just gets that nice dynamic range. Everyone typically has that peripheral where they have a disproportionate love and affection for that they swear by. What is, besides your OPSEAT, what's your favorite?
Well, of course it's the OPSEAT.
What's your favorite peripheral?
That's actually kind of a tough one because I don't probably my headphones. I'd like to upgrade them, but I love Sennheiser audio equipment, and so my headphones have been with me for a long time, and the next pair will be another Sennheiser pair and that sort of thing. But I really, for me, as weird as it might be, I'm looking around like, what do I have? I don't know. To me, they're just tools, and I don't have a favorite hammer. I don't have a favorite screwdriver. It's just if I need a hammer, then I grab a hammer. And, I prefer to have nicer quality ones that do it well, but each tool has its place, and so I kind of just, use them as they come. For me, as a fairly fast and furious typist, I don't care about the keyboard as long as the keys press and I get the right letters out of it. I can, the rest is on me kind of thing and using it right. So I might have a slightly different perspective there. I know it's a really non-answer, but I suppose the thing I've had the most and was like, no, if it were to break, would probably be my headphones.
Sennheiser's a nice headphone set, and you have the first response of that type, so you win first post. Thank you again for today. Is there anything you'd like to leave our audience with? Maybe your schedule and how they can find you?
Sorry, you cut out right there. I apologize.
No, it's fine. Is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with today? Maybe your stream schedule and how they can find you?
Sorry, my cough drop ran out, so
Perfect timing.
I've been trying to hold it in. Like, okay. Do you want to ask me the question again, or do you want me? Can you want to?
Nah, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay. So the audience can find out my schedule at zine.me, x33n.me, and they can actually see it in their time zone, which is something I personally coded using someone else's library. But still, I built that page myself. And but yeah, I'm typically on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Sundays, and then quite frequently have extra streams outside of schedules. So I'd recommend following on Twitter and you know Twitch, turning on notifications, all of those basic things. But for me, the main point is my stream is about you know, having fun and community and you know, being a part of it. Everyone's a part. It's not just people who are fans of me. Like, it's an interactive thing. So if you like those streams where you're more involved and where your chat messages are read and you know you get to be a part of the process, then that's something that you know you might want to check me out for and look into.
Great. Well, Gene, thank you again for stopping by. I appreciate you so much for doing this. It was really great to talk to you, and if there's ever anything we can do to help you out on any of your charity streams, please let us know.
For sure. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time as well.
Absolutely.